welcome to the next episode of Culture Maniac. Today I would like to review for you the last movie from Warner Bros. And DC, Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. You can watch this movie on cinemas from March 4. Let's start with the fact that for me personally, Ben Affleck was a great choice when it comes to the role of Bruce Wayne or Batman. When I found out that he would not be playing the main role in this movie, but Robert Pattinson was totally confused and not very convincing of this casting. Another issue was the inconsistency of this movie with the DC Extended Universe, which did not bode well at all. So, what's the new Batman movie? Is it a good movie but a weak Batman? You will find the answer of these questions in this review. I cordially invite you. In my personal opinion, Matt Reeves' Batman is on the one hand a reboot, thanks to which the creators could try to build this universe anew, and it is also an experiment in a way. But as usual with Warner, there is an experiment that draws from old schemes that, in my opinion, should not be so replicated many times only because it once worked because. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it can lead to very quick fatigue with the material. On the one hand, the film defends itself with an interesting story and a quite interesting world presented, and a very innovative way to narrating for a superhero movie. We are dealing here with a detective cinema noir, which is also very dirty and dark, dripping with darkness and violence. It is a story about revenge, about the fight against crime that never ends and lasts forever, but also about unique travel themes which can lead to central social breakdowns. Thus we can grow a monster in us that will destroy everything. Unfortunately for me, the movie is too long for the last 30 minutes. The detective scenes are too long in relation to the action scenes that are very dark and presented in a minimalistic way, except for the chase scene from the trailer and the final scenes of the fight for the city. Evidently inspired by Tim Burton's Batman Returns, mixed up the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan and the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. The story is so down to earth that it might as well be another part of the James Bond adventure than the story of the Dark Avenger. Not enough in the movie Bruce Wayne, in fact, we can hardly see him here, which I regret. Robert Pattinson's version of Batman still does not convince me, but the script somehow saves his lack of predisposition to this role. Catwoman is quite okay, all touch there is no complex origin story in it, but as character which quite are interesting past, I like it. The Riddler was quite convincing, he had his own motivation character and above all he could scare. The age category R was not necessary. Believe me that a good script will defend itself and the lack of blunt violence even works to the advantage of the film because the violence has been shown in such a way that it can scare you. It's a bit like the horror movies from the 50s and 60s. There were no CGI special effects in them, but the actor's facial expression, his horror on his face and the music that chills blood in his veins did the job. In the subject of music, I think the Michael Gracio soundtrack is the best that this movie could have. Music fits the atmosphere and pulls it in a very interesting way, and here the film deserves praise. The rest of the characters without any complications. Batman outfit looks super cheap and ticky. Batman cars cries of the heaven for beginners because it's a normal sports car with an afterburner, nothing creative. Overall, many special effects look cheap outside of some action scenes. I don't know if that was the idea and if the Joker movie was not inspired too much. As for the plot, I have no major complaints, but in my opinion the perfect movie about Batman should be like in the Arkham series of games, completely devoid of realism, which all comic books absurdities, full of madness and fun, which a great budget and lots of explosion, but also which had interesting addictive plot without pathos, without trying to some artistic visions. There were a lot of this type of Batman. Let DC finally follow Marvel's example and give us Batman movie that we haven't had yet and that we fully deserved. Technically the movie is quite right, especially in scenes where Batman looks in the dark and the only lightning is the firearms shot by his opponents. The red glow from the flare on the background of the black costume of the protagonist also adds to the charm, and watching it with great pleasure. I suspect that the 4K release with HDR active of this movie will be visually beautiful. As in mentioned earlier, the movie is good, a bit too long, and there are too many dark scenes in it. So I have no complaints all such as a superhero movie about Batman is very poorly. So, it is a good movie but a bad Batman for me. On a scale of 1 to 10, I will give 8. Because I liked the movie, but as I mentioned, a superhero movie, it's quite a disappointment for me. Of course I recommend the film to you because I think it's worth to see it from your own opinion. For my part, that's all. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next episode. Bye.